Yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Do I sound like a little snake boy?
When you do the long yes.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Jackson, welcome in. It's Balloon Party. It's brought to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alden, Toyota. My name is Timothy Michael McKernan. That's Jackson Bennett Burkett. We are on the threshold of a 3-day weekend. The weather is beautiful in the St. Louis area this weekend. And Missouri is 1-0, Illinois is 1-0, and Jackson, you're happy that Kansas is 1-0. I personally pull for Lindenwood, so I'm not. But the Cardinals have won 2 in a row. They are in the midst of starting their 21-game winning streak that is going to launch them into the wild card, in which they will win the National League pennant and eventually the World Series, shocking the New York Yankees as the two clubs meet for the first time in 50 years here in downtown St. Louis. That is going to be fun.
So you're saying this weekend will be a World Series preview?
That's correct.
Nice. All right. That's good to know.
The Cardinals are coming, tra-la, tra-la. The Cardinals are coming, tra-la, tra-la.
People were fired up yesterday at the ballpark.
Is that right?
The few there, seems like.
My sources gave me the real number. I really like this source. So, source, thank you. They were under 11,000 yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, you could have told me any number, honestly, and I would have believed that there was no one there. And I don't blame you. I wouldn't. Like, could you imagine a worse place to be in St. Louis yesterday than center field bleachers of Busch Stadium? Just absolutely baking.
Oh, you would have missed out on Sonny Gray dealing. Maybe you could have run out and got Jackson Merrill's home run.
Yeah, could have. It's a great time to be playing baseball, and if your name is Jackson.
Wow, nice.
It's a big Jackson renaissance going on right now, and I love to see it. And Jurickson. I'm going to count Jurickson as one of us.
The resurgence of Jurickson Profar.
Yeah, he can.
But not just Jackson Holiday.
Jackson Holiday, Merrill, Churio, all great. And then we're going to throw Jurickson Profar in there. He gets in. And then you read yesterday, Tim, about like the top 26 players at each age.
Yeah.
And I swear, like 3 of them were named Jackson.
Yeah, I guess your prominence on Balloon Party has led to people naming their children after you.
Or changing their children's name retroactively because because it's synonymous with greatness.
I see that. How about that? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But that's what Balloon Party has done for this country.
That's right. Yeah, it's not just local. It's spreading.
Yeah, it's global. Wings. It's global at this point. Are we going to do the trivia, or is that over?
That's over.
Nice. I love your 10:45 trivia.
I mean, we could just do one to have some fun.
All right. Yeah. A little treat for the audience?
Yeah, just have a little fun.
And then what are they going to win? I mean, they're going to text in.
A hearty pat on the back, if I ever see it.
A hearty pat on the back.
Yeah. I mean, I got nothing. I can give you, like, whatever I find in my backpack.
What do you think's in there?
Maybe like some...
Bear Bells bar?
Might be maybe a wrapper of the Bear Bells bar, maybe like some loose Mike and Ike's. Yeah.
All right, so that's what people win.
I think I have some Burt's Bees.
Burt's Bees.
Some lightly used lip balm.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what we're going to do at 10:45. But we have the Little Piddles Friday 6-shooter today. I can't wait to see what Jackson goes with as the lead. I think I know. But we'll find out here.
So when I have a lead that I'm not positive on, it could go either way. Usually,
you default to the NBA to make sure you're wrong.
Well, if I had my druthers, yes.
The NBA would lead the show every day.
Not today, no. But way more often than it does, considering it never does. So,
has the NBA ever led our show?
No, there's never really been. Maybe after the Celtics won the championship, but even then, I don't know.
I don't think so.
It should. I think it should lead way more often. But, listen, I get it. I get what the people want, I guess. So with a 50-50 ball like this, I would love it for it to be Missouri. However,
wow.
I think...
Wow, interesting.
So, like...
This surprises me.
I think this in itself is kind of a topic. Like, as much as I would love for it to be Missouri and be like, oh my God, they look great last night, like some good things to build off of. No one really got hurt. Like, there's a lot of good stuff. Then you take a look around, like Arkansas does the same thing to their...
Pine Bluff.
Yeah, they smoke
Pine Bluff.
Smoke them. Kansas does the same thing, smokes them. Illinois does the same thing, smokes them. So, like... It's really like there's nothing.
They would love to be in our position in Minnesota today.
Minnesota. Did you also see that after the guy missed the field goal for Minnesota, they shot the fireworks off?
Oh, I didn't see that part.
So I guess the pyro team accidentally hit the button like they won.
For the record, I'm sure some people are completely unaware of this. Minnesota missed a last-second field goal to beat North Carolina last night.
Right, and so they missed it.
North Carolina lost their quarterback. Minnesota lost the game.
Yeah, so he misses the field goal. Everyone in Golden Gopher Nation is trodden, and boom, the fireworks go exploding.
Fired from Chapel Hill.
Oh, I felt so bad for the poor person who accidentally hit that.
Well, I'll take this, and I will agree with your perspective. Now, I also think most people recognize what all of this was last night for damn near every game, maybe minus Minnesota, North Carolina. And that is, and I don't like it. It doesn't, in the sense that they're playing these games, but it gives you a week to get people playing time and also see if there's some things missing and maybe somebody surges for when the games really matter. The tough thing from a Missouri perspective this year is you kind of got another one of those coming next week.
Yep.
And then, now I am of the opinion, and maybe I'll be wrong, and by the way, I hope I'm wrong. I'm of the opinion the Boston College game could be a test.
No doubt.
And I think we'll have a better idea on that when Boston College goes to Tallahassee Monday night to take on a Florida State team that who knows what's going on there after they lost to Georgia Tech. So you're going to get kind of an idea on three teams and a Missouri game on Monday night. The three teams being Boston College, Florida State, and Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. Florida State stomps on Boston College. It gives credence to what Nick Saban said on game day that Georgia Tech, and this was before they beat Florida State. He said, keep an eye on Georgia Tech this year. I mean, hey, if anybody's going to know it, it's going to be Nick Saban. And he said they had a good offense last year. The issue is their defense. Their defense has improved. So maybe Florida State's loss to Georgia Tech isn't as bad as it seemed 6 days ago. Or maybe it was. And maybe Florida State's just no good. They've got a bunch of transfers. And that's how Mike Norvell turned that thing around so quickly. But maybe it isn't going to work out. And maybe Missouri's going to have a test in a couple weeks. But, yeah, I love Missouri football. Thrilled to watch it last night. I've lived through enough of these. I would imagine many of you have. Illinois fans, I'm sure it was the same deal for you with Eastern Illinois last night. You're excited about it going into it, and then about an hour or so in, you're going, okay. You know, and you're not like mad. You're just like, okay, I don't know. Let me flip around and see what else is doing. And then all of a sudden I find myself watching Colorado, North Dakota State, or Minnesota, North Carolina, and Missouri's playing, and I'm not watching because you recognize it is what it is. And then you can nitpick Brady Cook overthrowing some open receivers or the play that was a trick play that Luther Burden fumbled. But other than that, there's just really enough. That's when you asked me the question yesterday.
Yeah, because
it comes with historical perspective. I think if you would ask me this maybe a decade ago, I'd be like, yeah, I can't wait to see it. But I mean, you just know what the situation is, unless somehow it's a sweat. And by that, I mean, if it was a close game. And then you go, oh, God, well, what the hell's going on here?
Right. Then you'd have some questions or some concerns. I would totally get that. For Missouri fans, I would say, like, this weekend, not only the Florida State Boston College game will be important to keep an eye on, but you also get to see Notre Dame go to College Station. Yeah. And Notre Dame, a similar team expectation-wise as Missouri, going to a raucous environment.
Notre Dame's in a different spot. I know you're not saying that they're in the same spot. Notre Dame cannot be a top 4 seed because they're not in a conference.
Right.
So Notre Dame, they really cannot lose.
No, that is I think the most interesting thing. It's kind of biting Notre Dame in the ass. Is like because they're not in the conference, they could be undefeated. They cannot get a top 4 spot.
Correct.
They cannot get a bye.
That's why it's going to be magical when they come to Columbia, Missouri as a 9 seed.
I did see. I think it might have been Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen had Missouri as a 10
against
going to Penn State.
That would
and then the winner would go to take on the Longhorns in Austin because he had them as the 2 seed.
And while it might be maybe up there, be top 5 toughest places to go play for a home college football playoff game.
A whiteout in December in Happy Valley for the right to go to Austin, or not to go to Austin, play Texas in a bowl.
Yeah, that would be as good as it gets.
Oh, Bill.
Like if I could hand pick one, it would be Happy Valley.
That's the one you want to go to?
Not because like if you're looking for like the easier one, it'd be like the group of 5 team that you would play and probably play them at home. But either way, I would love to see what that atmosphere would be like for a home playoff game. And if Missouri would be able to knock them off, oh my God, that would be like one that you would rewatch for years. So I loved that. It's great to see Dan Mullen back in Columbia again. I guess that's a headline.
That's where he was vanquished?
Yeah, Connor Bazelak kind of threw a Kobe shot into
the rare Hail Mary from 3 yards.
It looked like a guy throwing trash into a waste bin. Daniel Parker caught it. Both players transferred, and Dan Mullen was fired.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of magic coming back from 2021, November in Columbia, Missouri. All right, it's 10:13 in St. Louis. Jackson has the Little Piddles Friday six-shooter. And we also have Jackson just doing trivia just for the sake of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We got Gabe DeArmond.
Oh, yeah, the Colonel. I'm sorry. The Colonel's going to be with us, too. So why don't we do that? We'll do that on the other side of the break. Talking Missouri in the win last night. The Little Piddles Friday six-shooter. All of that coming your way here on Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. Welcome back. This is Balloon Party. It's 101 ESPN. It's presented to you by Mungan St. Louis Acura, Mungan Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. You can watch the program on the 101 ESPN YouTube channel. The cameras brought to you by the Air Alliance team. Jackson, every Friday here throughout the Missouri football season, Gabe DeArmond of Power Mizzou is joining us. Gabe recorded his interview with us on TMA this morning because he is traveling between 10 and 11 today. But you get to hear our conversation with the Colonel and his perspective on last night and looking ahead to next week. This is brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Gabe DeArmond of PowerMizzou.com. And joining us right now, brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, online at carltoninsurance.net, as he will every Friday. It is our pleasure to welcome to the program the Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond of Power Mizzou. Morning, Colonel.
What's going on? How are you guys?
Wonderful, Colonel. Anything that you can take away? Anything stand out from last night?
I mean, when you hold a team to 85 yards and don't give up a play longer than 9 yards all night, that was dominant defensively. Now, does it mean that they have a dominant defense and that everything's great? We don't know, but I've seen a lot of bad teams come into Columbia, and most of them managed to get to 100 yards and run more than one play on the other side of midfield. So, if anything, I mean, the Missouri defense would have won that game 7-0. You know, I think you take something out of that, and you look at the idea that, hey, they got a lot of brand new guys that had never played a game here for a brand new coach, and he managed to get them all on the same page and turn in a really good performance.
I think the thing that stands out from watching, I think 3+ quarters of that before I moved on, is that while, yes, Murray State's certainly not a test, it looks like this team has some depth. And I think that is one of the things that when you look at championship teams over the years, when you do have to get into games where it's going to be challenging, and of course you're going to deal with injuries just like any other team, you have to have that. What is your opinion of what we saw from a depth perspective last night?
I agree. I would say, look, to win big, you need depth and you need stars, right? We know Missouri has a star in Luther Burden. Now, they had some stars last year in guys like Tyron Hopper, Darius Robinson, Cody Schrader. Do they have that one guy? We don't know that yet. They have a lot of guys that I think are good players. How many great players do they have is what we're going to find out. Probably not at least until the month of October, just because of the way the schedule sets up. But I mean, it was their third defensive drive, and I looked up, and more than half the guys on the field had not started the game. Offensively, Marquise Johnson, Joshua Manning, Mekhi Miller, none of those guys started the game or will probably start a game this year, but all are capable on any given night of being one of Missouri's two leading receivers, I think. So they've got a lot of guys, a lot of options, no question about it. I think this is by far the deepest team Drinkwitz has ever had. I think it's the most athletic team he's ever had. And, you know, again, we got one more true preseason game, two kind of preseason games, and then we put all this to the test.
Do you see anything that's concerning at this point? Any obvious weakness that you can tell?
No, I mean, I've had a lot of people, you know, on our post-game show last night, on our message board. I did another radio show this morning, and everybody says, you know, I'm kind of worried Brady missed the deep passes. He did. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns he could have thrown, one to Luther, one to Mookie, and one to Marquise Johnson, and they missed on those. I would say, first of all, 55-yard passes, I don't care if the guy's wide open, aren't automatic completions. Second, you know, it's game one. I mean, look at what we thought of this offense after 2 weeks last year, and teams get better, and that's always what we fail to account for. We just see game one and say, well, this is the team we have for 12 games, so how's it going to go? And that's not the case. So I'm not super concerned about it. I think that a lot of times, especially in games like this that are lopsided, a lot of people watch them trying to identify, okay, what's the thing that's going to hurt us down the road? And that game was over 5 minutes and 20 seconds into it when it was 21-0, if not before that. So I just don't put a lot of stock. I think Brady was amped up. First night on the field in 8 months, overthrew a couple guys. It happens. He'll hit them this year.
Gabe DeArmond with us. He is brought to you by James Carlton, the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. It looks like Missouri, in replacing Cody Schrader this year, will attempt to go with the thunder and lightning style. So of course, both looked good last night, and I think everybody is aware to contextualize that against the opposition. It speaks to the offensive line, but it also, you could tell, whether you're playing Murray State or anybody else, that there's a different style of running there. What was your opinion of Nate Noel and Marcus Carroll, Colonel?
So I know the thunder and lightning thing is going to catch on, that type of dynamic, and they do have different styles, but I think maybe we're making a little too much of it. And just Missouri has two really good running backs. Like, when you call Marcus Carroll thunder, that to me, like, labels him as this guy that's going to get the ball between the tackles and just plow forward. I mean, he's got some speed to him. Nate Noel's faster, but Marcus Carroll showed some moves, and he's quick, and so I think that maybe discredits him a little bit, and I think Nate Noel will be able to run between the tackles. He might not do it quite as often, but I think they've got two really good guys, and I said this earlier this morning. Don't be shocked if you look up in Week 5 at College Station and true freshman Kewan Lacey is the third running back on this team. I know it was the fourth quarter against Murray State, but he looked different than the other guys that came in after Noel and Carroll. And we talked all offseason, right, about replacing Cody. And what I maintained all along was people are making too much of this. The offensive line's back, and it should be as good or better than it was last year. The passing game's still a factor. They're maybe not going to have one guy go run for 1,650 yards, but they're going to be able to run the football. And offensively, that was my biggest takeaway last night. Running game's going to be fine.
I thought it was pretty impressive that they got their 62,621 fans. You don't have to go back too far in Mizzou history to know that they would have gotten half that many against a Murray State caliber team. So this was a pretty big win for the program in general, wasn't it? Just to see what kind of interest there is in the Tiger football right now.
Absolutely. 6 straight sellouts, that matters. I think Drinkwitz said last night that they told him it was the 6th biggest home opening crowd they've had. And obviously some of those you can't beat because the stadium used to hold more than it holds today. So, yeah, I think, I know a lot of people took some offense to what Eli said last week. He didn't say it on accident. It wasn't just he flew off the handle and said something. That was calculated. He wants to make a statement that this team is going to sell out every game because their team is playing. And if you sold out Murray State, I don't see any reason you're not going to sell out Buffalo. You're not going to sell out Vanderbilt. Every game on the schedule at home is better than that one last night. So if people showed up for that one, and credit to the fans too. I mean, guys, it was hot out there. Standing out in those parking lots drinking for 2.5 hours before a game. Honestly, it sounded miserable to me. But credit to them, they all did it, and they were there. And Drinkwitz brought up, they weren't just there. They were there when the game started, and that's, that's something.
Gabe, do you see this season as having more anticipation, expectation than 2008?
I don't think more, but I think right there. I think the only reason you might say more is because there is a easier path to the ultimate prize, which is the playoff. I mean, in 2008, you still had to be one of the top 2 teams, right? So you started that season thinking, okay, I think they have a team that is capable of it, but they have to be pretty much perfect to do it. This year, you start and say, I think they have a team that is capable of, and if they trip up once or maybe even twice, they still have a team that's capable of it. So I think that's the difference. After that Oklahoma State game in 2008, I thought not only the fan base kind of the wind went out of the sails, I thought the wind went out of the sails of the team because they knew everything they were playing for was very unlikely at that point. If Missouri goes down and loses at College Station, or if they're 7-0 and go lose at Alabama, whatever it might be, they know they've still got plenty to play for, and I don't think you'll see a team the next week that just comes out flat and acting like there's nothing left on the table.
Heaven forbid something happened to Brady Cook, but it looked like Drew Pine played pretty well last night. What'd you think of him?
He did, yeah. I mean, like every single thing we're talking about, we are prefacing with, hey, it was Murray State. We don't really know, but they did to that team what they should have done. I think Pine was 10 for 11, 82 yards. Drinkwitz took a little shot at him, said he didn't show a lot of athleticism on the quarterback keeper, So we got to work on that. But then he also said, but that's not why he was here or was brought here. And he said, he was very impressed with Pine. I thought he did well. And again, working with, the other thing you have to think about with the backup quarterback, if you are in a situation where he has to come in the game because Brady's out, well, then he's working with the number one offensive line, not the number two. He's working with Luther Burden and Theo Weiss and Brett Norfleet, not, guys who I think are still good players, but not the top line players. So, yeah, I think, and I heard this in the summer, Missouri feels like it has a guy in Drew Pine where if Brady Cook goes down, all is not lost. They think they have a guy who can go in there and win them football games.
Did we get a report after the game on Norfleet, or is it just a precautionary thing?
Yeah, Drinkwitz said he was not all that concerned about any of the injuries going forward. My amateur physician, which is not at all a physician, opinion from 150 yards above the field, when Norfleet was going to the injury tent, you could see he had a shoulder slump and an arm just kind of hanging, like he was not moving his I think it was his left arm really at all, and he went into that tent. And when he came out of the tent and went into the locker room, he was moving both arms. He looked just like he was moving better. So, again, we didn't get an official word, but it looked like a thing where, hey, maybe that shoulder kind of popped out, and they had to pop it back in. And I've never had that happen, but know plenty of people who have. And it's a thing that, yeah, it could pop up again. You get hit the wrong way. You fall the wrong way. It could pop up again. But it's also a thing that a lot of guys play through. Just, hey, we might have to do this 2 or 3 times during the season. You can get it fixed after the year, but you can play with it because it's, it's not a tear or a break or anything like that. It's just a matter of getting the thing back into place and sending you back out there, which, hey, lesson number 974,000 that football players are tougher than I am.
Final question for you, Colonel. Buffalo in comparison to Murray State, in comparison to Vanderbilt.
Buffalo's significantly better than Murray State. Probably half step below Vanderbilt, to be quite honest. I look at this 4-game September as they've got 2 true practice preseason games. Like, there was no path to losing to Murray State. Their first 2 teams could have been sick, and they would have won that game with the 3rd string. Next week, they'll probably need a few of the 1st and 2nd stringers to play, but there's a path to losing, but it's very difficult. And then Boston College and Vandy, I look at as, hey, these are Power 4 football teams. They have guys who were recruited by other Power 4 football teams. You can't just roll your helmet out and win, but you should win.
There it is. Gabe DeArmond, Power Mizzou, with us every Friday on Balloon Party, presented to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, every Monday on TMA. Colonel, safe travels this weekend, and we'll look forward to talking to you next week.
All right. Appreciate you guys being flexible with me. Have a good one.
There he is, Gabe DeArmond, brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. We recorded that on TMA earlier this morning. Normally he'll be live with us on Fridays, but he was traveling between 10 and 11 today, so we recorded it on TMA. Thank you to James Carlton for his sponsorship of Gabe DeArmond of PowerMizzou.com. Coming up on the other side of the break, Greg Amsinger of the MLB Network caught the ire of Cardinal fans with his comments on the opening drive. We will play those for you and give our thoughts coming up. And then Jackson's just doing trivia just for the sake of trivia.
Yeah, why not?
Look at you. What's the topic? Category?
Undisclosed.
I don't know if I should take the pot down and just raise here, or if I should call and let you bet into me again on the turn.
I got a pair of hooks.
You don't have anything. I'm just going to raise. I raise.
Where's my Oreos?
Jackson is folded. All right, Jackson will have trivia. He will come up with the category, but we will have Greg Amsinger's comments and our reaction on the other side of the break as he is critical of Cardinal fans. That's next here on Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel.
This is Action Jackson with a SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals will win yesterday. Final score of 4-1 over the San Diego Padres. They split the series with the Padres. They will head to the Bronx tonight to take on the New York Yankees. First pitch, 6:05 local time. And last night, the Missouri Tigers defeat the Murray State Racers to a tune of 51-0. Missouri will take on the Buffalo Bulls next weekend in Columbia. That was another SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Next, Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you. Another half hour before a 3-day weekend. Jackson, where are you going? Are you going to the Hamptons? They doing the white party again?
Southampton. Yeah, run back the white party with Michael Rubin.
That's cool.
It's going to be pretty cool.
Do you get starstruck when you're at that?
Only with like a couple guys, you know. It's like you see Brady. It's like, oh, hello, Tom. You know, good to see you again. You know, how the kids. But then, like, sometimes someone will come up, like James Harden comes up to you, and you're like, oh, my God, the beard. And, you know, which coach are you planning on getting fired this year, James? And
so you're not intimidated by Tom Brady, but when you see James Harden, you're like, whoa.
It's the beard, you know. It's like when a voice comes behind a beard so thick, it's like, where's he talking from? It's like he could be talking from his chin. I don't know. It's so thin. He's the step back jumper. He might jump into you. They try to get three foul shots. Sure. You just never know what's going to happen. But I am looking forward to the run back to the party.
Where do you fly into?
Well, you fly into Teterboro.
Oh, is that right? It's a long drive for you.
Well, but then we helicopter and you yacht in, make a grand entrance, yacht in, smaller one. It's only a 40-footer because the other one's in the shop for the
yacht shop.
Well, yeah, it's the marina, but it's a pretty privatized marina. It's me, Bon Jovi, Jerry Seinfeld, Stern. We all keep our boats there.
The four of you.
Yeah, the big four is what we call ourselves. We're like the Heatles.
Man, I was just looking forward to like getting pizza and steak sandwich at Biggie's.
Hey, man, different strokes for different folks, you know. I hearken back to a time where that would have satisfied me. And then I got a taste for American currency. Now I can't have enough.
I just felt like I was wealth shamed here. Well, all I wanted to do was answer Greg Amsinger's criticisms.
I'm capitalism's closest friend.
Amen. I agree with that, actually. Jackson, here is what Greg Amsinger of MLB Network had to say to Randy Carricker, Dan McLaughlin, Brooke Grimsley, and Matt Rocchio on the opening drive, which has caused a ruckus amongst Cardinal fans.
A huge panel of screens in front of you, and you have ballpark cam. And I need to know this, from an emotional perspective, when you see all of these empty seats at Busch Stadium, what are you thinking? How are you reacting?
It kind of makes me mad. Like, I'm not even kidding you. It kind of makes me mad because when I was a kid growing up, when Bernard Gilkey, Ray Langford, and Brian Jordan were young outfielders and the Cardinals were losing a ton, there were at least 30,000 fans in the seats every night. I mean, I was going as many times as possible with my mom and dad. And to watch this product get no support at all, and here they are hovering around 500. I mean, I hate saying it, but I heard what Don Orsillo and Mudcat Grant said during the Padres broadcast the other night when they were in St. Louis, and I kind of agree. This is not the St. Louis that I'm used to seeing. And when I talk to my friends who are quote-unquote loyal Cardinal fans, they're kind of angry. They're like, this isn't the product I want to support. You know, I'm a paying customer. I pay for these guys' salaries, which is the most, when a fan says that to me, it drives me absolutely crazy. Like, now, you wouldn't really feel what it feels like to pay Paul Goldschmidt's salary. We can do this as a demo on live TV over the course of the year. We'll garnish your wages, and you will pay Paul Goldschmidt's salary so you can actually say that to me. Drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. But anyway. I listen, I try to have patience, and there's so much vitriol right now. I don't get it. We are the best fans in baseball. We are. But right now, it's a bad performance. It looks like Cardinal fans are in an 0 for 12 slump right now. They can dig themselves out of it. There's still a month left. But right now, Cardinal fans, you're not hitting above 200, and that is a very sad thing to say.
That's Greg Amsinger on the opening drive. I'm a huge fan. of Greg. Like, he's a good guy. He's from legit South Side. He's Dutchtown, Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, you look down on me for where I'm from.
Yeah.
You really look down on him.
So he won't be at the white party?
He actually might be. Because you know what? He's lifted himself up by the bootstraps, and now he's anchoring a show from, is that Secaucus? Is he in Secaucus?
Yeah, this whole bootstrap thing, I like inherited wealth. It's my preference, so.
I'm appalled by this conversation.
Sorry.
So with that established, I really disagree with him. I really do. But I think what Greg's saying speaks to what I have not wondered about so much as observed over the last couple of years, although I think this thing between the Cardinal organization and the fan base goes back to 2018-ish. Mm-hmm. And that is the national perspective of the Cardinal organization and the local perspective of the Cardinal organization. And I can't speak to other cities and their relationships with their teams. I think I get the sense that in baseball, with no cap, that you always have fans wanting the owner to spend more money. This even goes on in New York, as crazy as that might sound to us in St. Louis.
Couldn't agree more.
In cap sports, it's a different situation.
Right.
So this is unique to, of the 4 major sports leagues in North America, baseball. Mm-hmm. But the relationship between the Cardinals fans and the organization, the distrust, distaste, apathy, disappointment, whatever you would want to call it, is not because the team is hovering around 500 in 2024. This stems from multiple actions or inactions that go back close to a decade in which fans feel like the organization has either been incompetent, condescending in its messaging, or not transparent. So to portray it as, boy, these fans are not showing up because the team is 500, how spoiled, how bad are the fans? And I'll be happy to rip the fan. I'll give you my honest opinion. So, I call a ball, and a strike, and you can like it, you can dislike it. As I've said before, I am not running for office in 2024. I am in 2028.
Yep.
And we're going to begin the campaign in November of this year.
Right. Just to get people ready.
But I really don't care if people agree or disagree. I might be wrong also, but this is not about the Cardinals being 500. This is about something that has been growing in frustration over the last number of years. And the Cardinals have won how many playoff series since Matt Adams hit a home run off of Clayton Kershaw in 2014? I'm going to give you 3 seconds. I just don't have time for you to think through it.
1.
That's correct. 2019 against the Braves. And then Randy Arozarena held up his phone, unfortunately. So Cardinal fans are going, yeah, this has kind of been going on for a while. And there's a message that comes without a press conference, because, again, they didn't hold the press conference last year after the season. That was odd. That we're fine with it because there haven't been changes. And then the one time there was a change, it was after a guy spoke up following a playoff appearance that included a huge winning streak to get them in. And so it's like, if you go against the crown, you're going to get whacked. But if you finish in last place, you get a contract extension. So what does that tell us about our expectations?
Yeah.
It's the same thing in a way that I would go crazy about with Missouri fans. Well, they went to a bowl. I'm like, everybody goes to a bowl. You can't use the benchmark of going to the playoffs as a great year. And that's kind of what I feel like has been going on around here. It's like, 19 in the playoffs. All right, I'll give you that. Absolutely. Upset the Braves. Clearly didn't belong in the same field with the eventual world champions. 2020, whatever. I don't know what went on in 2020. 2021, winning streak. God bless America. 1-game playoff. That was the format. Fine. And then 2022, that was a very good year. But there was this, I went to the playoffs 4 straight years. Last year was, I'm like, that's like saying I went to a bowl. You only went to a bowl. It's just a different measure of success than it was when going to the playoffs meant something in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And really even the first part of the 2000s. And so Cardinal fans feel like there is a satisfaction with mediocrity or even below. And so you have a combination of distaste and a combination of it's just not worth it to go down there. That's what this is about. This is about, oh, they're only 500. We deserve more. I just disagree with that.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't like, oh, this is my chance to air out my grievances with Greg Amsinger passive aggressively. I think the world of the guy. He's entertaining as F.
Yeah.
Especially when we're BSing off the air. But I just disagree with his opinion on this. And I think, again, that the national perspective on the Cardinals is a hell of a lot different than the local one. And I have to tell you, I think the local one is way more on point than the national one. Your thoughts are welcome, 314-399-9646. You're also welcome to participate in the YouTube chat. Jackson, my rant has led to a delay of your trivia question. And you're giving away some loose Mike and Ikes in your work bag.
More or less. I might have some stuff for some people, but yeah, here we go.
Text in your answer. The first one that gets the loose Mike and Ikes from Jackson's work bag, 314-399-9646.
All right, so this is going to be music trivia.
Okay.
This is going to be music trivia. What was Madonna's first top 10 hit? Wow. What was Madonna's first top 10 hit? This is a gift to those of us maybe a little older, maybe around for Madonna's first hit. What was Madonna's first top 10 hit?
Okay, I got to text you my answer. I think there's one that people text in that is not correct. And I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Here you go. Take a look at your phone. I've texted Jackson to see.
No,
Do we
sir.
have an answer yet? I'm not right?
No, sir. We do have an answer.
Okay.
From the 314, Holiday is the correct
between
answer.
Borderline and Holiday, and I thought everybody was going to go Like a Virgin. I went Borderline.
It
hurts. It hurts.
I have the options of here's my Missouri student ID.
Wow, that's a mugshot.
You can have a picture. You can have my Missouri student ID. I have a Starbucks gift card, which may or may not have $10 to $12 left on it.
Nice. Okay. These are great prizes.
I have one of those things like the laundry detergent things that say "Do not eat," but it comes like with a pair of socks.
Sure.
I have
Now it's becoming like a humble brag. Look at all the stuff I
a
have.
Protein One bar that might have been put in here in 2022.
Oh, nice. Jordan Montgomery.
Some strawberry gum. Looks to be about half full.
Okay.
And
Again, this is like, now it's look at what I have. I went to Ladue.
The block for a charger.
Ooh, that could be handy for somebody.
The block for a charger. I can't have my hat. I got an invite to a bridal shower or a wedding shower.
Okay.
So all these prizes and more are coming to that.
To that person who said,
Yep. All the loose stuff in my bag.
Holiday.
I got a pair of socks.
Okay. Hey,
Worn. So I won't give those away.
Did you just
Well, I had to make sure.
sniff?
Well, I'm not going to give away dirty socks, Tim.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to be giving.
I guess that makes it classy.
Those had an odor to them. So yeah. So this sick prize pack to that winner.
Unbelievable. Congratulations to the, I would assume, lady who guessed Holiday.
Yep. And the funny thing is they'd have to come pick this up at the station. And we'd have to give it to the
It's like the
receptionist.
Cardinal tickets that are going for $0. Take them. I don't want the service charge.
Yeah, that is crazy.
All right, there it is. Congratulations. Jackson's Trivia, a tradition unlike any other. All right, one final segment before the 3-day weekend. It's coming up next here on Balloon Party. Welcome back, Jackson. We got 5 minutes here on Balloon Party. How are you going to make the most of them?
How am I going to make the most of them?
Yep.
Do you think messaging is inherently more important in baseball than any other sport?
Wow. Man, I thought we were just going to have a nice little 2-foot putt and
You thought.
head into a 3-day weekend. And all of a sudden, I've got a 20-footer for par, too. Very rare for me not to be on in regulation.
Right. Scramble King.
Thank you. And yeah, it's downhill, left to right, big turn, about 8 feet out from the hole. So this is going to put me to the test. No, I don't.
Ooh, okay.
I actually think probably college football is.
Well,
And my reasoning is it's fueled by
brands.
donors.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's my my reasoning. Now, I don't know if I would have said that a decade ago because now you have NIL in play.
Right. I think it's baseball because of what we talked about last segment where there's no salary cap. So there is always an opportunity to spend more money. It's not
Not
like
one in college football either.
No, there's not. Not certainly.
I don't believe there are any rules.
No, that's the wild, wild west. So you actually might be spot on there. But when there's no salary cap, like even like you said, like even if you're the Yankees spending as much, if not the exact same as the top spenders, there's always like, well, you could have spent $20 million more because there's no limit. You can't have the out of like, well, we're at the salary cap, or even in the NBA where it's a soft cap. You can still kind of spend over that, but there's still a cap. So I think that, and also because you're playing 81 games in your home ballpark, you kind of have to message a certain way if you're going to get people in. Even if you're a great team, getting a lot of people in for 81 dates a year in the summer where there's going to be weekday day games, it's really difficult. So I kind of feel like baseball still has a seat at the table, but college football, especially in the last 5 years, you might be spot on.
Yeah.
Because it is the wild, wild west out there, man. And Drink has done a great job of messaging for the most part. Certainly more in the last couple of years.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, 11 months ago, if they lose to Kansas State, I think he probably loses his job. You know, I mean, that's why I try not to get caught up in the prisoner of the moment mindset on when I recall, you know, it's like if something bothers you in 24 seconds, try to get past it. But if it bothers you in 24 hours, address it within 48 hours.
Ooh. I like that one.
Yeah, no, it's exciting how wise I am.
I'm going to save that one. I'm going to put it in my phone.
Try not to go on tilt over something that's like a one-off out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's a key to life right there.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, the prisoner of the moment, like this. That's the thing about so with regard, again, this isn't like Greg Amsinger. I think I like Amsinger quite a bit, respect him quite a bit. I just think that the perspective that the Cardinals fans aren't showing up because the team's only 500 is missing what the real story is here, and that is this has been percolating for a number of years. And then that gets into the why it's been percolating. And I just think one of the issues the organization has is their three most forward-facing speakers at this moment. Is Bill DeWitt Jr. is not one of those. It's Bill DeWitt III, John Mozeliak, and Ali Marmol are three people that I think, for the most part, people in St. Louis at this moment either don't believe or believe are out of touch or don't like. And that's why I brought up the importance of like a Mark Lamping figure. Somebody, when they speak, people buy into and feel like they can relate to, whether they relate to them because they have credibility or they relate to them because they aren't using words that are, you know, not necessary to use.
Arbitrage.
For example,
Yeah.
I think that can just, you know, like here's the deal. If Doug Armstrong were sitting down to do an interview right here, right now, people are like, all right, I can't wait to hear what he has to say. And be like, oh, man, I love this guy. Bill DeWitt III, John Mozeliak. At this moment, people are like, oh, that's not true.
Right.
Oh, listen to this. Oh, we had to use that word.
Try to poke holes and everything.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that's where they are at this particular moment.
Great.
And really, honestly, I know that this, I take it for whatever you want to take it for. It is a shame because the relationship between this region and the Cardinals was one of the more pristine in sports for about the last quarter century. And now, and that's the thing, I guess nationally people wouldn't realize this. Amsinger certainly has better perspective because he has friends here and he's from here. But nationally, that's just not the way that it is. But it isn't because the team is 500 this year. This has been going on for a while. And I guess what frustrates me, I mean, certainly the contract extension's just like they're so tone deaf. It's like, do something about it. Do something about it. You have this blue chip stock, and you're fumbling around with it. And I don't, for the life of me, I don't get it. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand it. All right, time for us to go. BK and Ferrari Hour coming up next for Jackson Bennett Burkett. I'm Tim McKernan. Have a wonderful 3-day weekend, and we'll be back with you on Tuesday here on Balloon Party 101 ESPN.